I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Are you ready to rave about Pete?
Am I ready to rave about Pete? How can you do anything except rave about Pete?
What was your first impression of Michael?
I was unsure.
Like, what was your first impression?
That he was tall.
I first met him while working on Up. I think we had just met, and Tony Baxter said, "Hey, you guys want to go down to Disneyland?"
So I said, I'll drive. And I get in the car, and you know, sometimes when you get in the car and the radio is still on from when you were driving previously, well, mine was on.
And blasting out of speakers comes Lydia the Tattooed Lady, sung by Kermit the Frog.
So I quickly turned it off, and Pete was like, out of it, the first thing he said was, I was listening to that this morning.
Which I was. And so that was kind of, we blasted the Muppets all the way down to Disneyland, and that was, I knew things were going to be okay.
And I thought, you know what? This person's probably going to be one of my best friends for a long time. I feel like you guys brought us even closer together.
Hi, my name's Gracie Giacchino. My dad is Michael.
My name is Elie Docter and my dad is Pete. Gracie and I are friends, roommates, and as I sometimes say, tragically platonic life partners.
10 years ago, our dads worked together on the film Inside Out. My dad composed the music.
And my dad wrote and directed the film. When that film had come out, I had already successfully forced Gracie to be my friend. We had met not long after our dads did when they were worked on Up, and we hit it off.
When Inside Out was released, we were actually teens, just like Riley is in the movie.
And I think there's something really cool about our dads working together on a movie that was like about the life experiences that we were both going through at that time. I know I definitely projected myself on the character of Riley, and it was just such this love letter to her, this young and confused little teenage girl, and I related to that. And then casting Amy Poehler as Joy as this character that absolutely adores Riley, that might be the nicest gift I've ever received.
Now, 10 years later, we're able to look back on how our friendship has evolved, how our dad's friendship has evolved, and also how important true friendship is, especially as you're growing up.
Which, coincidentally, is also a major theme in Inside Out, too. I have a bad memory, so I don't remember ever not knowing Gracie, which is something I'm really grateful for. I think when you're growing up, sometimes you feel like you have to hide part of your personality traits or your interests and like mask who you really are. But I never felt that way with Gracie. Our friendship is just like pure. I think it's in a way that's similar to our dad's. I think we're able to really be ourselves when we're together. There's no need to hide anything or pretend to be somebody we're not. How would you describe your friendship with Michael? Like any specific adjectives or like anecdotes that sum it all up?
Strained.
Strange.
No, are we doing jokes or are we, what are
Up to
we?
you. You can do both.
Well, probably from the outside, if I were someone on the outside looking in, I'd probably think that we were two like a little annoying kids.
He seemed like somebody that I could have grown up with, like that we could have been hanging out and doing film projects when we were 12.
One of the reasons I like working with him is because it feels like I'm working with a friend from back home from when I grew up. You know, like I love that. We tend to have a lot of fun together.
We will nerd out about microphone placement or recording techniques or locations of, we are in the same stage as the Warner Brothers, you know, all the Looney Tunes. That's where our record. So it's, you know, there's a lot of that.
I feel like their friendship as adults almost helps heal some of the growing pains that they had when they were little.
Yeah, I know they both definitely felt insecure when they were growing up in middle school.
And it's like now they finally found someone who they can really be themselves with. Like, oh, finally someone who can keep up. My dad talks about the music of Oliver Wallace for 2 hours.
I think working with Pete is really, it's a good match for me because we both tend to go for what our heart says to do. And if that doesn't feel right, we generally will keep going at it until it does feel right.
Being with Michael kind of puts me back in play mode, which is hopefully what you're doing through the whole process. But it's easy in this business to have that stamped out of you, and you gotta be serious, you gotta do it on time and in front of the boss and all that stuff. So it's great just having that looseness.
And some directors are more analytical, some are more like, story-driven, but I feel like working with Pete, it's always about what's going to work here.
I remember on Up, I was being very polite, like, oh, it was great. We were listening to cues as we were recording. He's like, no notes? I said, nope. He's like, really? Come on, give me a note. So he sort of extracted any thoughts, and I realized, okay, I can just tell him whatever I think.
Ultimately, we really are about how's it making us feel, you know? And that was something I think that early on really made us click.
Now with Inside Out 2, Kelsey Mann is the director and Andrea Datzman is the composer.
Our dads are involved in this film, but not to the capacity that they were before.
Working on Inside Out 2 was very different than working on Inside Out 1, of course, because he was not directing and I was not composing. So what was fun about it, though, was really seeing the relationship between Andrea and Kelsey blossom. That was amazing.
The fact that Kelsey brought this new idea of anxiety and did so much funny stuff, and Andrea took the music, a lot of the themes that Michael had done, but made her own. Everybody just kind of brought themselves to the project in a way that made it grow and expand in a really fun way.
One of my favorite things about like the world of Inside Out is this theme of unconditional love. Like everything that the emotions do, they're doing because they love Riley. And I think that idea definitely stems from the relationships between the filmmakers.
Yeah, you can definitely see throughout the movie how much our dads love each other.
I'm very proud of the movie. It's amazing how well it turned out. I think it's incredible. I'm super proud of the work that Andrea has done on it. The music is incredible. And of course, to see Kelsey get a chance to do a feature like this is fantastic. He killed it, and it's just such a beautiful movie.